Hi and welcome to First Days with Johanna. This first day, the must be 13th of January. We are actually back in full swing. The kids are back in school and preschool, and we managed to survive hopefully this whole first week with everyone back in school. So you maybe think that I have gotten a lot of knitting done since they're back. Well, no, sadly no. It's been a lot of accounting and editing and writing and making sure that there are some more things showing up later on. So today, well, it's been quite slow on the knitting front, and I still have some things to share with you. So let's dive into what I've been working on the last week. You guessed it, it's socks again. I've actually managed to just recently bind off this small test sock. It looks really weird. The ends are not woven in here, it's hidden in the back. It looks really weird. I don't think that it will fit anyone, any foot, any kind. But yeah, well, maybe my daughter's doll can have it, and in that case I need to make a second one. Otherwise, I cast this one on as a swatch, both to try out some techniques on with the short row heel, but most importantly, I haven't knitted with deep ends in a very long time. So I needed to check my gauge with deep ends. The best way to do is actually making a swatch. So I will take some measurements from this one, and well, I will test it on the doll and see if she can have it. In that case, I need to make a second one before I will start my own socks with deep ends. But I really like this yarn. It's a homespun house, and it was one of her club colorways. So this colorway is not available any longer, but it's really nice with all the different colors in it, and still they move together very, very nicely with the purple background. It was a Gilmore Girls club, and I really liked the series Gilmore Girls. I watched it so many times, and it's my favorite thing to start watching in the fall. And yeah, I still want to have more episodes of it. I know they did this kind of remake, or not remake, like a year, 4 episodes of different times in the year for them, but I want more. And I know we're not gonna get it, but it's a feel good series to watch, and yeah, full of puns and some jokes and stuff. Not that much knitting, but perfect to knit to, especially when you watched it a couple of times. Then you know when to look up to see the good parts. So this is the very small sock that I knitted with, just to make a swatch for it. And that is all that it has been bound off this week. I thought I was gonna get this sock ready as well, but yeah, no, it didn't, sadly not get done. But I did put a good amount of progress in it, because I was here last time. I just started to knit the heel flap, and I worked, so I'm ready to make some toe decreases at the moment. And that's when it stopped, because you can't really make toe decreases on a 9-inch circumference needle. And to be able to make the toe decreases on this one, I needed to free up my DP ends, or I could use magic loop, but I don't. Oh, I do maybe have some 2mm needles for magic loop. I could use that also, but I was aiming for my DP ends. So now that they are free, I will make the toe for this one as well, and I'll have a second sock done for this year. This has been going on for quite some time, don't you think? I think it's time that I get this ready and make the second one as well. And I even attached a small just progress keeper on it to see how far I could knit in one day, and that was actually this part. And then I stopped to be able to make the decreases. So that's coming up. This yarn is from Wool Kitchen in her Cosmic Girl colorway. The base is BFL bamboo. So I'm really excited to see how it wears with the bamboo instead of nylon. And yeah, I still really enjoy working with the yarn. You can see in the leg it did one kind of pattern with this, and on the foot it started to do this a little bit of pooling maybe, but then at the end maybe I changed gauge a little bit, I changed my tension, and it come back to the same pattern it did on the leg. Yeah, it's worked cuff down with a strong heel, which basically is a fleagle heel worked the other way around. And now I will go on to make a wedge toe on it and then do some grafting to finish it off. So that was the second sock that I'm working on. We have a third sock. This is my husband's socks. You have seen them before. I have one done here. It was the one with the Regia yarn colorway 3655. Let's check that. That was not it. Here it is. Yeah, 3655. And this first sock is made from a 50-gram ball that I had in my stash. And now that was not enough to make a pair of socks for him. So I went to an online store and I ordered some more, but I'm quite disappointed with it. This first one is vibrant in the colors. You can actually see the blue, and it's colorful and happy. And this second one, it's like it's faded. Like they didn't use enough dye, or that the dye haven't set correctly in the skein, and I'm so sad. But my husband doesn't care, and since I have one sock finished for him, and let me tell you, it's a labor of love to make socks for him. They are long and they are wide, so it takes quite some time. But yeah, I'm slowly moving on this one. I did put in a progress keeper on this one as well, and this is how far I got this week. That is not so much, but I've been focusing on my other sock. So as soon as I get something done, this will get more attention, or if I'm gonna keep this one for train knitting on Friday, when I will be dropping off my son with his father, and I will have some train knitting to do. So maybe we can get to the heel and start doing increases for that on the train ride. That depends on how much else I have to do. But yeah, slowly moving along. The yarn is still pleasant to knit with. I'm just disappointed with the colors. And yeah, that's the way it can go. I mean, I had the other one in my stash for quite some time, so that's the way it is. Still disappointed, even if it can be like that. I have one more thing, and I have my swatch for my Estonian sock. Sadly, that haven't gotten a lot of attention either. I really like the swatch. I really like working with it or on it, but I've been so tired I couldn't even follow a chart this past week. So I just finished one more chart on it. You can see here's a little bit of red and here's more orange. Now I'm waiting for some yarn because I realized that I want to have 4 colors on this leg. So actually waiting on a different kind of yellow than I have up here, and I will have a yellow and then the dark green at the bottom. And I can also see that I'm knitting quite more dense on this than I did on this. So I need to make sure that I'm keeping the correct tension all the time and not trying to make it harder than it is. I need to decide which one to make and which one to measure. So it's always good to make a big swatch, because sometimes you change tension after a while, or you're working on another project that you need to keep quite loose, and when you get to the second one you start knitting looser again. So it's important to check your gauge from time to time and make sure that you're keeping what you intend to do. Otherwise you may end up like this. This sock, it's gonna be knitted from Rauma Gammelserie, and that is a 2-ply yarn, 100% wool. According to them, it's twisted a little bit harder, so it can actually be worked for socks. I've knitted socks with this yarn in the past, and so far they hold up quite nicely. This, historically, you always knit socks with 100% wool. Nylon is something that is invented and put into sock yarn to make them keep longer. I mean, nylon socks were not invented until 1950s, so nylon in the sock yarn would have come after that. But this sock was used historically, and that was the only socks they had, and so I guess I have to mend them if I wear them out to quick. So yeah, I will have 6 different colors in the socks, I think. 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different colors with the white. So they will be fun when I'm swatched for them correctly and start doing everything that I want to do with them. I'm so excited about this project still, and I can't wait to get the yellow in my mailbox so I can do the next chart. Hopefully I will get it done before next week so you can see that then. This project is worked on 1.75mm needles. That is US 00. And yeah. I mean, sometimes when you grab small needles, like you have been knitting for a sock, with the sock, you've been knitting on a sock for quite some time. And then you grab hold of a sweater or something and you start knitting with 4mm needles, and it feels like you're having big sticks in your hand to try to work with that. When I moved from this one to my normal sock size, which is 2.25mm, no, 2.25mm, that felt big. So it's really small needles and it feels delicate to be working with them. And it still makes me so happy. So I want to do more with that. I want to knit more. I want to knit the socks so that they can work out the way I want them to work out. That was it, what I have been working on. I know it's not a lot, or well, it's several different projects, but I haven't been knitting that much. Hopefully everyone will stay safe and stay healthy, so I can get one more week and actually do something. I know in the beginning of the year I still had to take the inventory and do a lot of accounting, and that's the way it is to be a business owner. And sometimes it doesn't really have to be the things that you want to do, but you have to do them. So I have some more things that I have to do before I actually can put in some serious knitting time, but I try to do some knitting every day, and every small step will lead to a finished project in the end. Now, I still haven't cast on even the swatch for my Estonian lace shawl that I'm planning on doing. I so want to do that, but I think I need to make the swatch for my sock ready and to plan out that pattern before I can cast on my next swatch, even though it's a very different kind of knitting and a different kind of way to go about it. But yeah, we will see how that one holds. Maybe I get too itchy to cast them on and I'm sitting here with the swatch next week. We will see. Now on to some technique videos. I just filmed a small video of a free needle bind off, and that's what I'm going to show you today. I worked the bind off on my very small, very wonky sock, so you get to see some bind off there. Now this small sock is ready to be grafted together, and on this sock I'm going to demonstrate how to work a free needle bind off. It looks like a small mitten, but it's actually got a heel here, so it's a sock. I'm going to show how to do the free needle bind off. I'm going to show it from the right side facing out. If you want to hide the ridge that this bind off creates, you can do it inside out, but I think it's quite decorative to showing off the ridge. So I'm going to grab my sock, and in this case I have the right side out on both, and they have the back side put together. There are equal amount of stitches on both of the needles, and that is important to be able to work this bind off. And I grab a hold of one more DPN because, as the name suggests, you need free needles to do this. So you go in knitwise on the first stitch facing you, and knitwise on the first stitch on the back needle as well, and you pull the yarn through, and that is basically knitting 2 stitches together, one from each of the needles. Drop them off, and you have 1 stitch sitting on your right hand needle. Now we're going to do that again. Take 1 stitch from the front needle and 1 stitch from the back needle, both of them knitwise, pull the yarn through, and now we have 2 stitches on the right hand needle. Now we're going to take the back stitch and pass it over the front. Then we bound off 1 stitch, and we repeat that all the way through. So knit through 2 stitches of the left hand needle, and then pass the back stitch over on the right hand needle. Go in knitwise, go in knitwise, pull the yarn through, and pass stitches over to bind them off. Just a few more times and we will be done here. Okay, drop them off and pass over. And the same on the last one. Go in knitwise on the front needle and on the back needle. Pull the yarn through. Now you don't have any more stitches on the left needle, but you still need to use one of them to be able to pass the stitch over here. And then you pull the yarn through. Break the yarn and pull it through. I go like that. And we do like this. And that has given us a small ridge right on the toe front. And since I did it with the back side or the foot side facing me, there will be a small pearl ridge going on over here on the front. But since that is on the very tip of the toe, when you wear the sock, it won't really show. But if you want to have this pearl ridge facing on the sole of the foot, then you need to have the top of the foot facing you when you're doing the free needle bind off. So that was the free needle bind off, and that's used for both binding off a sock or a mitten, or if you want to use it to basically seam two things together, like on the shoulder seam, you can have some stitches on two separate needles and work the free needle bind off to seam them together. The free needle bind off is actually quite perfect to work on the shoulder seam of a sweater, and in that case I will turn the fabric inside out so you get the ridge on the inside. And that is quite sturdy, so it holds its shape very good, and that is an important thing to have on the shoulder. That was it for today. It's a short and sweet episode, and I'm coming back to you next Thursday with some more things. Next Thursday will also be the announcement of the winner of my sock challenge. To join the challenge, you go into Instagram and post a picture of some knitted socks with a caption about what's your biggest challenge when it comes to sock knitting at the moment. It can be fit, it could be different kind of heels, it can be like grafting, and you have the chance of winning a 1 hour Zoom call with me where we go into detail what the issue is and how we can solve it, and some other knitting tips, or we can just hang out and knit together and chat about all things knitting. So check that out on Instagram, and next week I'm gonna announce the winner. Take care, stay safe, and make sure to follow every restrictions coming from all kinds of directions at the moment. But stay safe, and I hope that we will see each other next week too. Bye!